Namaskar and thank you for tuning in to Express News. I'm Mark Lynn. Let's begin. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated and laid the foundation stone of various railway projects on Monday in different parts of the country. In a significant move to enhance connectivity in the region, Prime Minister Modi inaugurated the new Jammu Railway Division. During his address, the Prime Minister highlighted the progress of the Indian Railways, emphasizing the near completion of the mission to fully electrify the railway network. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan is in New Delhi on a two-day visit. India's External Affairs Minister Jaishankar met Sullivan on Monday. Both leaders continue discussions on deepening bilateral, regional and global cooperation. Sullivan also met his Indian counterpart Ajit Doval in New Delhi. Sullivan visited the Indian Institute of Technology in Delhi, where he met young Indian entrepreneurs and delivered remarks on the United States and India building a shared future. India's Ministry of External Affairs has responded to airstrikes on Afghan civilians. The MEA spokesperson Randeep Jaiswal said that India unequivocally condemns any attack on innocent civilians. And in an old practice of Pakistan, it is their practice to blame neighbors for their own internal failures. At least 8 personnel of the security forces and a driver were martyred after a police vehicle came under attack by Naxals in Kutru region of Chhattisgarh's Bijapur district on Monday. The Naxals carried out an IED blast, blowing up the vehicle carrying the soldiers. The security personnel were returning from an operation when the incident happened. India's Home Minister Amit Shah expressed condolences to the families of the brave soldiers, and he assured that the sacrifice of these soldiers will not go in vain and that the government will end Naxalism in India by March 2026. The Indian Council on Medical Research has reported 2 cases of human metapneumovirus in the southern state of Karnataka. Both cases involve infants. They are bronchopneumonia cases and they were identified through routine surveillance. The Directorate General of Health Services says there's no reason to worry. The symptoms are the same as a common cold. India's Finance Minister Sitharaman chaired the pre-budget meeting with stakeholders and representatives of trade unions. They focused on the preparations of the budget, which is going to be Budget 2025. 9 Bangladeshi nationals staying in the national capital with fake documents have been sent for deportation since New Year. The police teams from the central Delhi district identified the 9 foreign nationals during investigation and document verification. The East Indian city of Bhubaneswar is all set to welcome global Indians for the 18th Prasar Bharati Divas, a 3-day mega event scheduled from January 8 to 10. Over 3,500 overseas Indians have registered to participate in the 18th edition of the mega event. The Indian Infrastructure Finance Company celebrated 2 decades of infrastructure excellence in India. The National Summit on Infrastructure was organized to deliberate on the road ahead. Speaking at the event, the IIFCL leader, Nagaraju Madirala, who's the Secretary of Finance, he asked the organization to fund infrastructure projects at a faster pace to help India in its journey to a Viksit Bharat. In a major crackdown against the cross-border terrorism in the country, the Border Security Force of India on Sunday recovered a DJI Mavic 3 classic drone. This was in a sugarcane field near Amritsar, Punjab. Indian markets ended the week's first trading session on a lower note, 1% down, in fact, dragged by selling pressure across counters. The 30-share Sensex, it tumbled 1,258 points and closed at 77,965. The Nifty 50 lower by 388 points at 23,616. The Nifty Small Cap 100 and Mid Cap 100 indices also ended down 2.7% and 3.20% respectively. The Asian markets started the first full week of 2025 on a shaky note as traders struggled to track a healthy run-up on Wall Street, with minds turning to Donald Trump's second presidency. Sydney, Singapore, Manila, Taipei and Wellington edged up while Seoul piled on 1.9% even as South Korea remains gripped by political uncertainty. Tokyo retreated more than 1% with Nippon Steel taking a hit after US President Joe Biden blocked its proposed $14.9 billion purchase of US steel. Egypt is set to get $1.2 billion from IMF this month, part of the $8 billion funding program. Oil prices slid on Monday amid a strong US dollar and ahead of key economic data by US Federal Reserve this week. Brent crude futures dipped 21 cents to $76.3 a barrel after hitting a 6-week high on Friday. US crude was down 19 cents at $73.77 a barrel after Friday's 6-week high close. Let's get you international news now. In Austria, the far-right leader, Herbert Kickl, is all set to become the Freedom Party's first Austrian chancellor in a tie-up with the Conservative People's Party. The Austrian President van der Bellen met far-right Freedom Party's leader on Monday to discuss the formation of a new government. The Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is likely to resign this week amid growing dissent in his Liberal Party. South Korea's military claims that North Korea launched a ballistic missile into the East Sea on Monday. South Korea responded to North Korea's missile launch by firing a ballistic missile into the sea as a show of strength. The outgoing US Secretary of State, Blinken, is in South Korea for talks with officials, including the acting president, Choi Sang-mok. Blinken and his South Korean counterpart, Cho Tae-yul, they condemned Pyongyang's missile launch, calling it a violation of UN resolutions. Japan's Defense Minister General Nakatani said that North Korea's missile tests threaten regional and global security. Israel and Hamas are still negotiating a ceasefire agreement to end the fighting and release hostages. Hamas says that it has approved a list of hostages for exchange, but the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu denies receiving any such list. Russia claims Ukraine has launched a counterattack in the Kursk border region after months of tension. The IAEA has reported loud blasts near Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant amid drone attack concerns on Monday. The US President Joe Biden signed a law boosting retirement payments for some public pension retirees. Jorge Rodriguez was re-elected as the President of Venezuela's National Assembly on Sunday during the opening session of the 2025 legislative period. In his swearing-in, Rodriguez vowed to defeat extremism and defend Venezuela's sovereignty. The Philippines has deployed air and sea assets in its exclusive economic zone to monitor China's largest Coast Guard vessel on Monday. Calling the ship's presence an act of Chinese intimidation, coercion and aggression, the Philippines Coast Guard ordered the Chinese vessel to leave the area. Japan's Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba expressed strong concern regarding the future investments between Japan and the United States on Monday, urging the American government to address these issues. Malaysia appears, the appeals court has granted permission for the former Prime Minister Najib Razak to seek documents that will allow him to move into house arrest. Campaigning begins in Ecuador for February general election there. The candidate Luis Gonzalez, who was the protege of the former President Rafael Correa, is in focus. Let's take a short break here. We'll be right back.
geopolitics and trade deals, economic challenges amid development, hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. Let's continue with Express News. As northern India is gripped by a cold wave, rain lashed parts of the national capital on Monday morning. The India Meteorological Department has predicted light to moderate rainfall, accompanied by thunderstorms along with dense fog. This is till the 9th of January. The weather in the North Indian state of Himachal Pradesh is set to change from Monday onwards. The Meteorological Department has issued an orange alert of heavy snowfall. This is till the 7th of January. The Kashmir Valley experienced fresh snowfall on Sunday, while dense fog earlier in the day hit air travel and left the flights at the Srinagar International Airport cancelled. Now, a winter storm brought snow, ice and freezing temperatures to the broad swathe of the United States as well, with some 60 million people across more than a dozen states from Kansas to New Jersey under winter weather warnings and advisories. The storm was moving towards the mid-Atlantic, where Washington, D.C. was bracing for heavy snowfall and bitter cold on Monday. Indiana's first snowstorm of the year brought heavy snow across the state, rendering the cities in a white landscape. Hundreds of schools announced in advance that they would not open on Monday because of the storm. These included public schools in Indianapolis, in Cincinnati, Washington and Philadelphia. Heavy snow left a white sheet over some southern parts of Ireland following heavy snowfall overnight and through the day. In southern parts of Ireland, tens of thousands of homes are without power and many schools are due to shut on Monday as the country remains in the grip of icy weather conditions. With just a week left for the start of the Mahakumbh Mela in Uttar Pradesh's Prayagraj, authorities have put in place a set of security measures, including automatic number plate recognition technology, as millions of people are expected to throng the holy city. The Mahakumbh is being celebrated after 12 years and a huge turnout of devotees is expected in Prayagraj from January 13 to February 26. With the deployment of thousands of AI-powered CCTVs, underwater drones and state-of-the-art facilities for visitors and devotees, the state government and administration are ready for the Grand Mela. In view of the safety of devotees in the Mahakumbh, a large number of Jal Police or Water Police personnel have been deployed. This is on the Ganga and Yamuna rivers. Ganga Aarti was performed by women at the Sangam on Sunday. This is captured through stunning drone visuals also. The Mahakumbh Mela is the world's largest public gathering. It's the collective act of faith. Thousands of devotees across the world celebrate the 358th birth anniversary of Guru Gobind Singh, the 10th Sikh Guru and one of the most revered leaders of Sikhism. The Toda tribe, it's a community in the Indian state of Tamil Nadu. They celebrated their traditional New Year festival today, and members of the community offered special prayers. They performed traditional dances, and this was in Ooty. Under a highway underpass, hundreds of Brazilians gather to enjoy the rhythm of charm, which is black-rooted rhythm born as a homage to both soul, funk, also rhythm and blues. Brazilian dancers have been swaying since 1990 under the Negrão de Lima Viaduct, which is in Madureira neighborhood. And the rhythm was born in the 1970s, in which it translates in English, as we said, to charm. Madrid streets were alive with color and joy as Melchior, Gaspar and Balthazar, they made their entrance, the much anticipated annual Three Kings parade. Thousands of spectators, including cheering children, lined the route in Spanish capital, eagerly waiting to see the kings wave to the crowd. Inspired by Rio de Janeiro's most famous Christ the Redeemer statue, a 3D printed Cristo Pesa monument, it was recently unveiled in Colombia's popular Comuna 13 neighborhood, where it attracted hundreds of tourists. The Pesa monument, it was created by Jameson Restrepo, but its design and construction involved more than 40 local artists and engineers. CES, which is the annual technology extravaganza hosted by the Consumer Technology Association, CTA, kicks off the new year with over 150,000 industry attendees and 4,000 exhibitors converging at Las Vegas. A month-long colorful flower festival kicked off at Chattogram DC Park in the Doordarshan area. The colorful flower festival introduces a unique floating flower garden alongside a traditional rural fair, where visitors can also purchase flowers from designated stalls. The 12-year Lachlan Rakovalis, he's a young boy, and he's entered the Guinness Book of World Records with the most popular pogo stick jumps, the most number of them in a minute. After months of preparation, Lachlan Rakovalis beat the under-16 record as well by jumping 187 times in a minute. Around 600 volunteers, including locals, hotel staff and tourists, gathered on the beaches in Bali to clean up massive plastic waste washed ashore by monsoon rains. The cleanup, organized by the Indonesian government, was both for foreigners and locals, and they pitched in. Squid Game, the global popular series, it captured audiences in 2012, if you recall, and it's making a return in season 3. That's what Netflix says. It's released its trailer, Squid Game Season 3. Now, this trailer, it shows contestants seeing the deadly red light, green light doll, a young he before, introducing the boy equivalent of the doll, Chulsu. Comic actor Rowan Atkinson has become 70 years of age today. We can remember that he played the roles of Blackadder and Mr. Bean so successfully. Born in 1955 in Consett in northeast England, the actor, writer and producer began his television career in 1979. He starred in what was called The Secret Policeman's Ball, and this is not the 9 o'clock news. Historical drama Shotgun took the spotlight at the Golden Globe Awards, grabbing the top prize for Best Television Drama alongside Gongs for its cast. Surma Hockey Club will face Delhi SG Pipers in the Hockey India League match in Rourkela on Monday. Indian all-rounder Rishi Dhawan has retired from limited overs cricket. He played 3 ODIs and 1 T20 international for the national team. India announced a women's squad for the upcoming ODI series against Ireland. Captain Harmanpreet Kaur and the fast bowler Renuka Singh Thakur, they've been rested. Smriti Mandhana will lead the 15-member squad in the 3 ODI matches starting from January 10 in Rajkot. Afghanistan won the Test series 1-0 against Zimbabwe on Monday. The visitors won the second Test match after the first match was drawn. The West Indies cricket team has arrived in Islamabad on Monday for their first Test series in Pakistan in 18 years. In squash, India's Anahat Singh stormed into the finals of the British Junior Open at Birmingham. She defeated Rakhaya Salim of Egypt 3-1 in the semi-finals. India's tennis player Sumit Nagal has been knocked out of the Auckland Open tennis tournament. On Monday, he lost to Alex Michelson. In a bid to promote indigenous sports, India's provincial Odisha government on Monday announced a 3-year sponsorship deal for the national Kho-Kho team. The former world number one, Naomi Osaka, remains optimistic to play in the Australian Open after she was forced to pull out of the Auckland Classic due to injury. Novak Djokovic has admitted to still getting stressed when he gets off at the Melbourne airport after he was deported from Australia 3 years ago because of COVID entry rules. Manager Pep Guardiola said that Jack Grealish must fight for his place in Manchester City's starting lineup and rediscover his form, the form that he showed earlier. Nottingham Forest to take on Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League match at Wolverhampton in the city of Wolverhampton on Monday. Indonesia has sacked its national soccer coach Shin Tae-yong, and this happened because of a need for better leadership as the country battles for a place in the 2026 World Cup. Hideki Matsuyama broke the 72-hole PGA Tour scoring record and won the Century Tournament. Matsuyama captured his 20th worldwide title, also his 11th PGA Tour victory. Thank you very much for catching up with the Express News. Namaskar.